Snow Cone Mini One Shot. First chapter of the new year and it's a long over 3,000 words one. Enjoy it, Ochako sweetie, please just think about it for a moment, the king asked his daughter who barricaded herself in her chambers. No, I won't do it, Ochako the princess yelled from in her room. Please just give it a chance, sweetie, the queen begged her daughter. No, I am not marrying somebody that I don't even know. He could be a total asshole or creep for all I know. Ochako stomped around her room in frustration, throwing a few items around. Honey, at least give it a chance. This is how me and your mother got together, the king placed a hand around his wife. I'm not like you two. I don't want to marry someone who I don't even know what their name is. Ochako calmed down a bit after letting her frustration out. His name is Izuku Midoriya, sweetie. I'm sure he is a nice young lad, the king told Ochako her future husband's name. How do you know if he's so nice? Ochako asked her parents. Well, I know his mother and she is a very good woman indeed, her mother spoke. So you really don't even know what he's like. You're both just assumed. Ochako sat down on her bed. Quote. Come on, let's leave her for a bit, let her take some time. The queen took her husband away from the door. Ochako placed her hands into her face and she began to cry. She was going to be forced into a marriage. And with a complete stranger. She had never been more upset in her time as a princess. Knock knock, Princess Uraraka, a voice called from the other side. 1 second, Ochako recognized the voice. She moved everything away from her bedroom. Dora opened the door, letting one of the female servants in. Hello, Princess Uraraka, the servant named Asui bowed before her as she held a basket. Hey, what do you need? Ochako asked, shutting the door after Asui came inside. I came to see if you need anything, princess. I also brought some more bed sheets in case you needed some. Asui placed the basket on a table. I don't need anything, Ochako rubbed her eyes, trying to stop her crying. Princess, have you been crying? Asui asked, taking notice. Don't worry about it, Ochako sat back down on her bed. Is this about the arranged marriage between you and the Prince Midoriya? Asui asked. What? How did you know that? Ochako asked in surprise that she knew. The king and queen gathered most people in the castle, including the guards and manhaddens, to make the announcement. There's a feast getting ready for after they arrive. If you wish to attend afterwards, Princess Uraraka, Asui explained to her. No thanks, I'm not in the mood for food, Ochako declined the invitation. I see, Princess Uraraka, if I may ask, why do you not want to get married? Asui asked, being curious. It's not that I don't want to get married. I just don't want to marry someone I don't even know. Ochako still felt furious that she wasn't even given a choice. Do you already have someone else you wanted to marry? Asui asked. I wish. At least then I would know him then. Ochako curled up in a small ball. Story continues below. The Prince Midoriya is on the way now. In fact, he is late and they asked us to prepare a dressing room for him, Princess Uraraka. Maybe you should get to know him when he gets here. Asui suggested. No thanks. Our marriage is less than a month away. There's no way someone can fall in love that fast. Ochako looked out the window of her room. I understand. If you will excuse me, I will see myself out, Princess Uraraka. Asui took the basket after taking out the sheets and left Ochako in her room. Ochako blocked the door again and went back to her bed. Ochako continued to look out her window as she thought about her forced marriage. It's just not fair. This is my life. I should be able to pick what man I want to marry. There's no way they will let me get out of it now. Ochako thought of a plan. She looked at the bedsheets and outside her window. She changed out of her princess uniform and got into something more casual. Usually there are guards right outside, but Asui said that they are all at the feast. Sorry mom and dad, but this is my life and I decide how to live it, Ochako thought as she grabbed the bed sheets. She knew if she went out the normal way it would lead to the main hall and she would definitely get spotted. Going through the window is the only option she had. She tied all the bed sheets together as good as she could. She pushed her bed near the window, trying on one end of the sheets to her bed. She threw the other end outside the window, letting it hit the ground below. She packed a few things into her bag and she took it with her. She stepped onto the window frame clutching the sheets. She looked around once more to make sure nobody was around. Alright, let's do this, Ochako thought as she grabbed the sheets. She placed her feet up against the brick wall and slowly made her way down the wall clutching the sheets. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go from here. Probably head into the woods. Shouldn't go to a nearby forest and, as she was climbing down, she saw something. At the top of the sheets it was starting to tear and Ochako was still about 30 feet in the air. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Ochako started to climb down even faster, but that just made the tear grow, eventually snapping, sending Ochako to fall down. She screamed as she fell. Time seemed to slow down as she fell to her death. Luckily she didn't. As she was about to hit the ground, something had caught her just in time. Ochako was confused as to what just happened. She was still in the air but now in someone's arms. Now she looked up to the person who has caught her and she saw a boy, possibly around her age, maybe just a bit older, with green hair looking at him. Ochako thought he looked plain but at the same time cute. Are you alright? Her hero asked. Why yeah, you can let me down though. Ochako was blushing. She had never had a boy hold her before. In fact, she didn't have many friends that were boys. Actually, she barely had friends in general. Sorry, the man let go and she stood on the ground. It's alright. Thank you for saving me. Ochako looked at her hero. It's no problem. But what are you doing climbing out of the castle? Couldn't you have gone a different way? The man asked. Quote dot dot dot. It's complicated. I'm being forced into doing something I don't want to do, so I wanted to leave, Ochako explained to the stranger. Story continues below. That doesn't seem smart. You could have died if I wasn't here to save you. You should try talking it out, the man suggested. The family is dead set on it, nothing will change their minds. Ochako took a seat on a bench that was away from her tower room. So you run away. That doesn't seem very smart. Did you even have a plan? The man asked, sitting beside her. Not really. Go into the forest and go to the next city and go from there, Ochako told the stranger her plan. Seems kinda stupid to me, no offense, the stranger said. No, thinking back now I guess it was a pretty dumb idea, I should probably go back before. Ring ring. Guess they found out. I should get back. Ochako got off the bench. I should too. I got to meet someone very important. The man stood up as well. What's your name? I think I should at least know the name of someone who saved me. Ochako asked the man for his name. It's is. Princess. It was Asui. Oh. Hey, Ochako smiled nervously. What are you doing out here? Your parents are worried. Some knights knocked on your room. They busted it down and you weren't inside. What on earth are you doing here? Asui asked, very worried for her safety. Jay just taking a walk, Ochako lied. You should tell someone before you do that. And out the window. We will talk about this later. Come on, let's go. Asui grabbed her hand, leading her away. Wait a second. Hey, why? Ochako looked behind her, but the man was gone. Come on, princess. The prince will be arriving shortly. We must get you out of these clothes. Asui brought her back into the castle. She got changed back into her princess uniform with help from Asui and a few handmaidens. You're very beautiful, Princess Uraraka. Prince Midoriya is a very luck guy. Asui talked to her while she putting the finishing touches on her outfit. I just hope I'm lucky enough to end up with someone who at least isn't a complete jerk, Ochako sighed. All done. Everyone is waiting for you. Prince Midoriya is in his own dressing room and should be about done. Asui started to put away stuff. Thank you. Ochako stepped down from the stool that she was on and walked out the door down the castle hallways. Here we go, Ochako thought, opening the doors to the main hall. She stepped inside and many eyes were on her. Sweetie, over here please. Her mom waved her over to the three thrones. Ochako walked to her throne, sitting down. We are glad you finally decided to accept this, her dad felt proud. Ochako sighed in response, rolling her eyes. Now then, I am pleased to present to your majesty, the queen and king with their son, Midoriya. A squire called out. The doors to the main hall opened and the other king, queen, and the prince came inside with some other people including handmaidens. Ochako looked around for the prince and she was shocked. It was the man that had saved her from early. Story continues below. Is something wrong, sweetie? Her mom asked, noticing her expression. It's just Ease. Cuter than I expected, Ochako told a half-truth. He isn't he? The queen turned back to the crowd. As for Izuku, he too was surprised. What's wrong, Izuku? His mom asked, noticing her expression. She's just prettier than I thought she would be, Izuku told a half-truth as well. She isn't she? His mom turned back to Ochako's parents. After a bunch of words and talking about the future couple, the feast began, Izuku and Ochako obviously being put together. Ochako wanted to talk privately to her future husband, so she requested that they have their own small table, which was immediately granted. So you're Izuku Midoriya? Ochako, still in shock, asked. Why, yeah. And you're Ochako Uraraka. I probably would have realized if you were wearing your princess uniform. Izuku ate a bit of his food. I would have realized who you were if you were wearing your uniform as well. Ochako also started to eat. So, this is a bit awkward. Izuku ran out of things to say. Sure as I'm just glad I'm not stuck with a jerk. Ochako had a sigh of relief. You already think I'm a nice guy? Izuku asked. From what I can tell. You did save me, so that's good enough for me. Ochako gave him a smile, making him blush a bit. Thank you. So do you really not want to get married? Izuku asked. It's not that I don't want to get married, it's just I want to be able to choose who I get to marry. And the idea of us marrying each other in about a month doesn't seem right, Ochako explained. Does that mean you already have someone you like? If that's the case, I can maybe talk to my parents about ending this, Izuku offered. No, that's alright. I don't have anyone I like. I don't really get to talk to much people. But it would have been nice to get to know my husband at least. Ochako poked her chicken leg. We still have a month till then. How about we get to know each other until then? Izuku suggested. Alright, come with me. Ochako got up from her table with Izuku following her. Ochako had a word with her parents. Afterwards she grabbed her future husband's hand and led him away. She took him to the castle garden. Theo place looks nice, Izuku said looking around. Don't you have a garden at your castle? Ochako asked sitting down on a bench. We do, but it's not as big as this one or as nice. Izuku sat down beside her. I come either here or my room when I want privacy. Guards are always everywhere else at all times, Ochako explained. So, what do you want to talk about? Izuku asked. Do you have any siblings? Ochako asked. No, do you? Izuku asked back. No, Ochako responded. Have you ever been in a relationship before? Izuku asked. Wasn't allowed to. How about you? Ochako asked back. Story continues below. Couldn't. Not that I wasn't allowed to. I am just too shy to do so, Izuku explained. What? No way. You seem pretty good at talking to me. Ochako didn't believe him. I would have been much more shy with you when we first met if I knew who you were. I was actually a wreck inside when I was holding you in my arms. And by now I just got used to talking to you. You also seem pretty good at talking, Izuku pointed out. I don't believe that. I haven't had much experience. Say, do you want to see something? Ochako asked the prince. Sure, Izuku agreed. Ochako took his hand and walked him over to some stairs that led to the top of the castle. There was a view of the entire village at the top. Every building was in view and the sun was already beginning to set, making it an even more beautiful view. It looks amazing, Izuku was amazed. Isn't it? It's one of the few things that helps me de-stress from being a princess. Ochako went near the edge of the balcony with Izuku. I can see why. It's pretty nice. Izuku looked out towards the city on top of the castle. So whose castle will we be living in? Ochako asked. I don't know. Your castle is much bigger than mine, so there would be much room. Yours would be better suited. Although it's not really up to us, Izuku rested his chin on his hand. That is true. We should probably head back soon. We have to give a goodbye speech to everyone about our marriage. Ochako turned around and started to walk. She, being a total klutz, tripped on her own feet. Izuku tried to save her, but in the process he fell as well. Ow! Ochako's back hit the ground, not hurting her too much though. Izuku landed on two of her and their faces were literal inches apart. After locking eyes with each other they both blushed but didn't dare to move. Ahem. Ochako and Izuku looked up to see Asui was there looking at them. So you didn't want to get married to him, huh? Seems to me like you were already thinking about children, Asui teased Ochako. It's nothing like that. Why are you even here, Asui? Ochako asked, wanting to bury her red face into her hands. I was making sure you're alright, and I get it, Princess Uraraka. I'll leave you two alone. Asui went down the stairs and back inside the castle. Izuku got up and helped Ochako up like a true gentleman. Sorry about that, Izuku apologized. You need not apologize every time you help me, Prince Midoriya. You were just trying to help me. Ochako brushed some dirt off her dress. It didn't go like I had hoped. Izuku also brushed off some dirt. It's quite alright. Although my best handmaiden has the wrong idea now, Ochako was still blushing from Asui using children. They weren't even married yet, it was way too soon for children. Shall we head back inside, Princess Uraraka? Izuku asked, having recovered from what just happened. He held a hand out to her. Yes please. Ochako gladly took his hand and he led her back into her castle. After doing their final speech together for the town for the day, it was time for Prince Izuku to leave his future wife and to go back to his own castle. When will we see each other again? Ochako asked her parents. Possibly tomorrow. We will be staying in a nearby inn, so you two will get quite acquainted together, Izuku's father answered her question. The inn. Please, I highly suggest you stay in our castle for the time being, Ochako's mother offered. Thank you, but we already have reservations and it won't be for more than a month. Go ahead and say goodbye, Izuku. His mother gave him a little nudge. Goodbye, Princess Uraraka. Izuku gave her and her family a respectful bow. Goodbye, Prince Midoriya. Ochako gave him and his family a bow and watched them leave. Maybe this arranged marriage won't be so bad after all, Ochako thought, watching the door to the castle close behind the Midoriya.
Finally, we can relate. Our side by side is thing. I knew all along we'd find some way to communicate.